I'm with Wendell here in the 30th year with the Chicago Wolves. I wanted to touch upon this quickly before I get into another subject, but you had to hire a coach too, or coaches.
Coaches.
How did that go?
It was good. It was fun. Again, so many people in hockey know what our organization's about, and when a job opening, whether it's coaching or one of the equipment guys or whatever, there's a lot of inquiries, and we actually had to hire a video coach, an assistant coach, a head coach. We actually lost both our equipment guys within a week. And again, we're excited about it because Ryan Schofer, went to the Pittsburgh Penguins. Lester left and went for a head job in the OHL, which are hosting the Saginaw's hosting the Memorial Cup. So we're excited for stuff like that, and we're excited what went on. But yeah, it's not just a summer of getting players, it's a summer of getting staff, and the amount of resumes that came in and the amount of phone calls and people calling on other people's behalf and all that. There was a lot happening, just not player-wise, but having staff together and that continuity of the staff. And I watched Bobby Nardella for a long time, played with him, he's a good friend. But all that said and done, him being a good friend's not the reason he's the head coach, because he's a head coach because he deserved it. Mm-hmm. He epitomizes what the Chicago Wolves are about. Loves Chicago, he loves the Wolves, he lives and dies it, and that's what we want to bring to the players. And that's from a personal standpoint and a philosophy standpoint. But hockey-wise, I've seen what he's done with the players and his input in the dressing room and his thoughts on the way the team should be coached, and his contributions over the years. It warranted him being the head coach and giving him the chance to become the head coach, and we're excited about it. Being the head coach is a big decision to make, and it was a lot. Bob was always kind of on the forefront for me, but there was a lot of quality coaches that have come through. A lot of coaches that had a lot of NHL experience too, and they came through. And in the end, it always came back to Bob being what we want, especially with this year with All-American League contracts, that whole situation. And Bob's playing career gives him instant credibility also with his international experience, Olympics and everything like that. So it was, I want to say it was an easy decision to hire Bob, which it was, and it was the right decision. But part of the process, there was quite a few candidates that want in. And again, that's a feather in the hat to our organization. We were regarded in the hockey world, and people want here. It's the same thing, with our equipment guys leaving. There were so many candidates that put in their resume, and it's a part of the process. And I think we've got a great staff with Bob, Dave Barr. You look at Dave Barr's experience; he's got experience everywhere. Like, he's been a championship GM coach. Like, he's been in the NHL a bunch of years, the whole thing, and as a player and as a coach. So I think it's a great situation, especially for Bob with that experience. And that's why a lot of the interviews, assistant coaching interviews, I left to Bob because Bob has to live with this guy. Mm-hmm. And I always say to the head coaches, you have to make I've got my idea who I want, but you got to have the conversation. You got to talk to the assistant coach. You got to get a feel for him, because you're basically living with him. You're going to be around him more than your wife and your family and me. I sit up in my office. I'll come down to the dressing room, but you're around him pretty well 24/7. You travel with him. You guys will be out for dinner. You're doing cutting video. So you got to not only think the guy's a proper hockey guy, but he's got to be somebody that you can be around for a long time. I've seen it happen on other teams where some coaches don't get along. Just the personalities don't match. But you got to get somebody that matches your personality, and that's the bottom line. And I remember years ago, I had a head coach, and he was going to hire an assistant, and he went through everything with me because he knew I knew the assistant coach he was going to hire, and he goes bottom line, he goes, can I go for a beer with him? And I said 100%. He goes, okay, that's the final thing I need to know. He goes, I need to know that I can spend time with the guy, and that's a big thing. And we've had to hire a video guy, and there was a lot of candidates on that. And again, we narrowed it down, and Bob made his recommendation, because again, he's around all the time. So it's a long process. People think you just hire a coach and it just drops. No, the amount of resumes and calls and the background checks and all that stuff. It's just there's a lot to it. It isn't just, hey, here's a list of 20. So it's been a fun time doing that, not just player-wise, the staff-wise. It was fun going through all that and seeing how many people that are out there that are interested in being part of the Chicago Wolves organization.
We've been very lucky. We have some great coaches through the years come through this organization, and I think the one thing it says about Bobby being the coach is the other players that have been here and are back this year, they were all so excited to see that that was the case. So that's a huge positive. Quickly, not a lot of time here left in this segment, but for yourself, there's so many rules in the American Hockey League with the veterans, the 260 odd games, et cetera. How tough was that, putting together a team for this year because of those rules? And a lot of guys that are young are already under contract with an NHL team.
So that's I think signing the vets, like I said, I could sign 25 vets. I think the vet was the easiest part. It's finding the non-vets that are not under NHL contract, because most of the good non-vets would already have an NHL deal, and they would be under entry-level contracts because our league is so young to be still under entry-level or on their second contract. So I had to find a group of non-vets that are not under NHL. So that the talent pool went a little smaller with that, but at that same time, we're excited about what we have.
Yeah. Well, we'll be back again with more of Wendell, but let's go back to Chicago.